Tonight's headlines are brought to you by McDonald's and Mariana's Coffee.
Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Sakurako Halstead.
And I'm Dan Shore. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories.
DPS says an air conditioning failure led to the deaths of 2 police dogs who overheated in the back of a police unit.
Also tonight, the CUC Executive Director says power generation on Saipan and Rota is at precarious levels.
And we head into the clouds as we look at tourism to and from Japan.
In sports, the Micronesian Cup is coming to local waters and they could use some paddling assistance.
Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
Find a plan that goes with your flow. Get unlimited local talk, text, and data at the most affordable rate with Unlimited Flow Postpaid.
Nestled alongside the tranquil ocean and vibrant gardens, Miyako has long been a Saipan favorite. In mid-October, our doors will reopen with a special Japanese lunch buffet. Indulge in authentic dishes crafted with the finest ingredients. Reconnect with nature. Savor each bite and start to make new memories at an old favorite. Make it special. Make it Miyako. Doors open mid-October. We can't wait to welcome you back.
I love Macaranas coffee. Come join me for a cup. I think you would be really happy.
This burger looked at one slice of melted cheese and said, more cheese. It looked at pickles and said, also onions. It wanted to be more than hot. It wanted to be juicy. This is the Quarter Pounder with cheese. If you thought one napkin for the Quarter Pounder with cheese was enough, it's not enough.
And Tito, are we headed for blackouts? CUC's executive director says there is little to no power reserves on Saipan and Rota. Today, he asked the CUC board to pave the way towards the purchase of new generators by declaring a state of emergency. Our Chris Nelson has more.
We did express that this is very urgent, and hopefully that the engines online now will hold.
CUC's Executive Director Kevin Watson asking the board for an emergency declaration that will ease the purchasing process of gensets. Watson says CUC quickly needs to replace generators for Saipan and Rota after previous catastrophic failures to engines. Procurement is in process, but the large purchase has been delayed by a protest from the company that was not awarded the generator contract. Watson says that protest could take years to resolve, years that he believes CUC does not have.
Saipan and Rota cannot afford to go without new generators for another 3 to 5 years. Chairman Sarok suggested that CUC should just overhaul the existing engines while the protests are pending. I have indicated above the catastrophic failures of these engines. Such failures cannot be repaired simply by overhauling them. Due to the age of the engines, they are obsolete and parts are no longer available.
A state of emergency declaration could waive some of those procurement requirements. Charity Hodson, an attorney for one of the generator companies that bid on the gensets, spoke on behalf of her client, asking for the board to wait.
We understand that the board wants to approve the contract to MNE, who has approved and awarded the contract via emergency sole source or via a new contract for emergency. And either way, IBCM submits that this is in bad faith.
Ultimately, the board voted to not make the emergency declaration request today, asking Watson to investigate renting temporary power generation as a plan B.
The board unanimously declined or denied the request from the COC management, the declaration for power generation for Saipan and Rota. The mere fact is that we spoke with the ED and to seek other avenues to support the power generation for Saipan and Rota.
DPS concludes that it was an air conditioning failure that led to the deaths of 2 police dogs who overheated in the back of a patrol car.
In mid-September, 2 officers who were securing a drug bust left 2 canine partners, Boss and Benny, in the back of a vehicle while they processed evidence. When they returned, they found 2 overheated dogs. One died on the scene, the other a bit later. DPS Commissioner Anthony Macaranas.
The officer assured that when they left the vehicle, the air conditioner was properly running. The vehicle was secure so that nobody can tamper it or open the door. And of course, the vehicles are, and it's an early morning. You know, they went in to process their evidence, turning everything when they came out, and that's what happened.
DPS says today that as part of their investigation, they had the vehicle inspected by a mechanic who says the Chevy Tahoe's air conditioner failed on the morning in question.
The initial findings was based on the overall findings is that we found that the vehicle had developed mechanical problem that morning. The findings was made by a certified mechanic using a diagnostic instrument, looking into the problems of the vehicle, and we found that one of the error that was found that's connected to the proper function of the air condition. This is, like I said, this is a tragic for all people that I understood that they care and they love the dogs, but it is ourselves in the department too felt saddened and tragic for the loss of these 2 dogs.
The commissioner says the department has received a considerable amount of public criticism for the error. The department deems no cause of action is required.
As to the 2 officers were then transferred over to patrol to continue their police work. But at the same token, they were going through counseling to help them cope with the loss of their partners. The transfer is not means of discipline; it's a means that they will return back to their normal duty.
There are now just 2 working canines in the narcotics unit. The department has yet to decide on commissioning new canines.
In the meantime, we are still working on refining the policies and the protocols of the canine program.
DPS says one immediate change is that dogs will now accompany officers and not be left unaccompanied. This is Dan Shore for KSPN2 News.
We look now at some of the dangers of drugs around kids. The Division of Youth Services says cases include drug use in the home are rising dramatically.
In 2023, 1 newborn tested positive for methamphetamine. In 2024, that number jumped to 6. And in 2023, DYS had 24 cases that involved 74 children exposed to drug use in the home. This year, the number is 40 cases involving 119 children. Vivian Sablon from DYS helps explain the rise in cases.
As we continue to engage the community in these discussions, we also want to put out that it's also important to note that there's contributing factors, and our numbers going out may also mean another thing. It's not good that it's there because we know it's really happening in our community, but it might be because our awareness is really out there.
Mariah Barcina says when drug use in the home is evident, DYS can get involved in a variety of ways.
We would come in and evaluate the family situation, right, and identify any risks, safety for the children, and then we'll come up with a family plan with the family to improve safety and stability. And this could include, when we remove the children from the home, it could include making referrals for counseling services or substance abuse treatment for the mothers that test positive. In addition to making sure that the health is still being monitored and all of that, but yeah, we make sure that they're in a safe home, and it could look like kinship placement with a family member. It could look like foster care placement, while the mom and dad or the parents focus on their recovery.
Juanisha Villanueva is a caseworker for DYS, and she says depending on the circumstances, immediate protocols are put into place.
For example, for infants to test positive, right, as soon as we get the call, we go to the hospital, and that's where the investigation and everything starts. So we do check in with the parents also and see if there's there's a relative for a placement, which they talked about with kinship, and then if there's no placement at all, we bring to the emergency shelter.
DYS says the focus is not on punishment, but on helping the parents with the recovery services while ensuring the child is in a safe environment.
We do report everything to DPS. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Because here at DYS, even though we need to remove the children from the home, Mom, we also come in and be like, Mom, we're going to help you and we're going to provide that support. So we do work closely with the Attorney General's office, family court, drug court, and we look at what the root issue is, and then we go from there.
Coming up, we take a look at some clouds headed our way.
And we head up into the clouds with a Friday story that will make you definitely want to sing.
Location, location, location. Office space on Capitol Hill available now at the Hermosa Vista Business Park. With natural light and ocean views, it's the perfect place for creative professionals. So upgrade your life and your working environment. Schedule an exclusive showing now. Call us at 670-483-4750 or email hvsaipan@gmail.com. At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
Welcome back. Wellington, located in the southern portion of the northern island of New Zealand, is the country's capital city. It is also home to the executive director, Nick Brown, of the Pacific Island Chiefs of Police, who has arrived on our island to meet with the newly elected deputy chair of the Pacific Islands Chiefs of Police.
On September 4, 2024, we saw DPS Commissioner Anthony Macaranas as he was about to depart for a convention of Pacific Island police chiefs in Tonga. Upon his return, we asked him about his experiences of meeting police chiefs from throughout the vast Pacific Islands.
Each chief that would briefly talk about the history of their crime on their island. They do talk about the meth problem. So we do have a meth problem, and it's occurring all over the world.
One of those police chiefs has just arrived on Saipan to continue a relationship built in Tonga and to share in continued exploration of solutions to common policing needs.
I came from Guam this morning, but it's been a long trip, so I originally come from New Zealand, so left New Zealand about 36 hours ago. A long time. So I've come to Saipan for a business meeting, so it's good to be here.
And what were you planning on doing here?
I'm in law enforcement, so I represent the Pacific Islands Chiefs of Police Secretariat. So I'm responsible for supporting and providing a voice into the region for our 22 Pacific Police Commissioners, including the Commissioner of the Commonwealth and Northern Marianas, Anthony Macaranas.
Are New Zealand's crime conditions similar to those of the Marianas Islands?
Policing's policing all around the world, unfortunately. The clear message that we have is that no one can be an island by itself in terms of the impact or the issues that people get impacted by in terms of crime are the same everywhere, and it's better to collaborate and work together to try and have that common voice so that when those donors and partners come in, we can be really effective and get them to do something that's going to be good for our communities and reduce the harm that transnational organised crime brings to our communities. And so that's really our key message is let's work together, let's have that common voice, and certainly have the meeting today it's a real privilege to be here. Commissioner Macaranas is our newly elected Deputy Chair for the Pacific Islands Chiefs of Police. So that's a real privilege for Commonwealth and Northern Marianas, privilege for us as Head of Secretariat, it's a real privilege for me. So it's great to be here, and it's going to be a really good couple of days.
The Commissioner is quite pleased to have learned of his appointment as Deputy Chair.
It is an honor, but it's a bigger responsibility. And I took the challenge because I feel that you wouldn't know your capability if you don't take the challenge. So I took the challenge to see where I can stand to help these other chiefs of the other islands.
While you're here, will you have a chance to explore Saipan?
Yeah, hopefully I can get a little bit of a break away from the Commissioner to do some pleasure things.
We are happy to be working with a new meteorologist who will help KSPN with forecasting and preparing for inclement local weather. As we prepare for what could be some wet weekend weather, our meteorologist Robert Speta is down in Florida assessing the damage and cleanup efforts from a hurricane that hit the southern United States hard. Let's take a look.
Currently in Perry, Florida. Now this town took the brunt of Hurricane Helene, and we're seeing people out here, still picking up the pieces after that storm, but this town's not unfamiliar with them. In fact, over the last year, 3 separate storm systems from Idalia to Debbie to now Helene rolled right over this town. But each storm is different, and with Helene, the big issue was how far the wind carried inland, knocking out power for people well into Georgia, hundreds of miles away from the coast. Here near the coast where the storm did make landfall, volunteer groups and donation locations have been set up to help people get back on their feet. I passed this line which stretched several miles for supplies. Now this is just west of CNMI, Florida, where the eye wall of Hurricane Helene came on shore, and just look at all these trees snapped. It almost looks like a full-on tornado came through here. It was those extreme winds that pushed through, and easily winds here had to have been well over 100 miles per hour to just snap not only 1 or 2 trees, but just behind me, rows and rows. And it goes on out here across this forest just towards the west of CNMI. The death toll at this time with Helene is over 160. This storm, locally where it made landfall and the broader impacts across the United States, is one that will leave its mark for years to come. For KSPN2 News, I'm meteorologist Robert Speta.
You know, Sakura, that everything is in the cloud these days.
Yes, and tonight we're going to take you there. Actually, maybe just a little bit higher than that.
Well, we did have some fun with this next story, which includes some singing. It is Friday, you know.
We continue our series To and From Japan, and tonight we add a musical twist.
Tomamu is famous for konayuki, white winters filled with deep pillows of Japanese powder snow. In the winter, these ski lifts take skiers up to elevation. But in the summer season, the ski mountain has reinvented itself to attract those looking for some warmer weather adventure. Unkai Terrace is a sky-high phenomenon. Unkai means sea of clouds. And at this elevation, you'll be mesmerized as the clouds roll through the peaks and passes. It's an early morning attraction. Really early. Liftoff starts around 4:30 a.m. with the fun ending by breakfast time. It's a big drive from Sapporo, so we check the weather forecast and get up early. First things first, konbini breakfast. Konbini is a short term for convenience store. The variety of snacks and food are all of quality and easily accessible.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
What are you getting here?
Some snacks, and then on that side I'm gonna get some onigiri or like a sandwich, something quick to eat.
So what's the plan?
Today we're gonna go to this place called Unkai Terrace. It's 4 a.m., 4:09, and it's a 2-hour drive, so we'll be there by 6 a.m.
The journey takes us deep into the heart of Hokkaido. The sun rises as we continue our drive. We aren't going to be the first in line this time. At the base of Unkai Terrace is a gondola that whisks you up and up and up. Ears pop as we ascend to the top on a 13-minute journey that takes us up over 1,000 meters. Up top, there's a cafe and observation deck. Outside leads to a trail of different pit stops that create unique photo opportunities. The Cloud Bar has giant stools that overlook the mountains and valleys across the way. Our dance shore bellies up.
We are on Mount Tomamu with a cloud view. You can see the cloud coming in right over here. This is a remarkable view because we are sitting in the middle of a cloud. Did you know that? Can you tell from looking at this? We are in the middle of a cloud, and it's pretty beautiful.
Canines get into the fun as well, as the area is Instapooch friendly. These furry friends get their close-ups as handlers take pals in for loving photo shoots. I wonder how many followers these guys have. At least one more than yesterday. The word for cloud in Japanese is kumo. Don't confuse it with kuma, which means bear. The Kumo Walk is a deck that puts you almost within reach of the clouds. It's a walkway with a cloud-like shape that starts in one end and comes out the other.
Ta-da! Doing what's called a cloud walk at the Unkai Terrace.
Here's the weather. This is Dan Shore for KSPN2 News. The weather is gusty, it's cloudy, it's cold, unlike Saipan.
Climbing higher, we find the cloud bed. Giant white balls that don't look too soft but are actually dreamlike. Good for counting sheep. Take your shoes off before nestling in. Up even higher, the main attraction, the cloud pool, resembles a giant hammock. The net creates an interesting jungle gym that you can ascend to look over the edge. No drones allowed up here. Lucky we saw the sign a little late. Don't tell anyone. Although sunrise above the cloud is the holy grail of Unkai Terrace, coming a little later and having most of the space to yourself might be even better. And at the Sky Wedge, it's quite good to have some privacy. It's built like the bow of the Titanic, where Jack and Rose had their iconic moment. If you're brave, and more importantly, alone, you can let out your inner Celine Dion.
Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on.
Our dance shore has its own take and is comfortable with auditioning in front of any size audience.
Every night in my dreams, I see you and I feel you. But I can't see you during the day, which is why I wear these. So now that I have my glasses, near, far, wherever you are, I can see you, and I'll be with you in the water or in the clouds.
At the top, make sure to check out Uncay Post, which at over 1,000 meters gives you a scenic way to send airmail safely back home. Uncay Terrace is open until October the 15th. Sakurako Halstead for the Channel 2 News.
Konnichiwa. That was a very lovely story, Sakura, very musical, and a nice job singing up there.
Thank you, Dan. I didn't know that was going to make it on the show, but we do like to have some fun on Fridays. And Jason Sanchez and Tone Atalik, some great shooting and editing there. Yep. That was the teamwork story. Stay tuned. Sports is next.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
If you're a person with a disability in the CNMI, you have certain rights that protect your ability to vote. This video contains some information about your rights and some resources available to you in protecting those rights.
What are some of your voting rights as a person with a disability? You have the right to vote regardless of your disability. You have the right to cast your vote privately without disclosing your vote to anyone. But you also have the right to ask for assistance as needed. Polling place workers should be ready and available to assist and accommodate your needs. CNMI law requires that you must be registered to vote in the CNMI. You can vote if you are a citizen or national of the United States, at least 18 years of age on the date of the election, domiciled in the CNMI, a resident of the CNMI, and have resided in the Commonwealth for 120 days, are not serving a sentence for a felony, have not been declared by the court of unsound mind, and have registered to vote at least 60 days before the election.
As a voter with a disability, you have the right to vote in an accessible voting place. That means you can get from your car through the door to cast your ballot without physical barriers or impediments.
Under the CNMI law, any voter who needs help in casting a ballot is entitled to request for assistance. A poll supervisor or the executive director of the Commonwealth Election Commission can provide assistance at the polling place, or you can exercise your right to curbside vote. However, whether you vote at curbside or not is your choice. No poll worker can force you to vote curbside. If you are unable to mark your ballot, you may select up to 2 people to help you cast your vote, except that they cannot be your employer or your employer's agent.
The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 requires public entities to provide progress access, reasonable modification of policy, auxiliary aids and service where necessary to afford an individual with a disability an equal opportunity to participate in and enjoy the benefits of the services, program or activity being conducted by the public entity.
Our primary goal is to have 100% participation of eligible voters in all elections, 100% polling place accessibility, and options for all voters who seek independent and private voting. If you want to know more about your voting rights, please contact the Northern Marianas Protection and Advocacy Systems Incorporated at 670-235-7273 or 74, or you can simply visit our website at www.nmpasi.org.
This video was brought to you by the Administration for Community Living and does not necessarily reflect their official views.
Buenas sports fans.
Buenas sports fans! In the lagoon with lots of paddles, the Micro Cup is coming in 2 weeks with visitors from all over Micronesia. The teams are looking for some community paddles.
On October 18th to the 20th, Saipan is hosting the Micronesia Cup, a va'a or outrigger canoe sporting event. Paddlers from Guam and the Marshall Islands will be flying in to compete in races. Volunteers are needed to make this event a success. Perks for volunteers include a gift bag, volunteer dry fit shirt, all access to race events, and an entrance to the closing banquet. In addition to that, meals will be provided. Must be 18 or older to participate. For more information, email the Northern Marianas National Paddle Sports Federation.
Find a plan that goes with your flow. Get unlimited local talk, text, and data at the most affordable rate with Unlimited Flow Postpaid.
Hey, golfers, come north and practice your game at the Macaranas driving range. New Year's local specials. 10-piece coupon books available for just $60. That's a $10 savings. Want to get really good? Come work on your swing every day for just $99 per month. It's our practice pass and you're going to love it. Grab your passes and go straight to the range. You can social distance and chip all at the same time and the views are free. Reserve now at MarianasTrekking.com. You can pay online, open 7 days a week.
Here's the weather. The National Weather Service on Guam reports a tropical disturbance alert for the Marianas that has a rating of sublow or unlikely to develop into a typhoon. The disturbance is presently centered north of Chuk, but headed our way. So please plan for a wet and windy weekend, particularly for Sunday and early next week. Tonight will offer us a 60% chance of showers with some heavy rainfall possible. Low temperature of 78. Saturday and Sunday will offer a 60 to 70% chance of numerous showers with a potential tropical weather event. The day will rise to 88 degrees and evening will fall to 77. The sun will set tonight at 6:04 p.m. and will rise tomorrow at 6:07 a.m. And if the sun sets tonight as the temperature falls, we can call that a 77 sunset strip. And if the sun rises with the same temperature, we can call that a 77 sunrise strip. I'm just saying. And I will see you in the water or on land.
That's news, sports, and weather. Thanks for tuning in.
Stay dry, Saipan. It's going to be a wet weekend.
Adios.